as to why we should do it, other than we could literally change the face of the earth if we did. If we all lived that, would we go to war with one another? Would there be a need to go to war with one another? If we lived that, would there be need for gangs in our streets? If we lived that, would there be need for violence in our homes? Now, I'm not naive, I'm not stupid, and I'm not making this simplistic. I realize that there are very complicated situations going on in our world, in our cities, in our towns, in our homes. We're dealing with incredibly complex problems. We're dealing with psychological problems. We're dealing with psychosocial problems. We're dealing with all kinds of other problems. Yet each and every single one of those problems can be used as an excuse as to why we don't live this. We need to begin living it. We are already doing what Paul said to the Galatians. We are going on, we are biting and devouring one another, and we are being consumed by the violence we do to one another. Live by the Spirit, Paul tells us. And the Spirit he talks about is the golden rule. Love one another. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others. Treat everybody else the way you want to be treated. Do that first. Make that the baseline for everything that we do. Because if we don't make that the baseline for everything we do, then all of the other complicated solutions to the complicated problems of our world are not going to work. There will be no trust. There will be no care. There will be no genuine spirit that moves us to do what is necessary to make the world into the place God has asked us to. It's a difficult task. A very difficult task, and an impossible task for us to do. The only way it can be done is through God. The only way it can be done is if we have that tremendous faith in the Lord that says, despite what's going to happen to me, I may be ridiculed, I may be persecuted, I may be laughed at, I may be thrown out, it doesn't matter. I am going to do this anyway. First. It's what Jesus is saying in the gospel. Jesus isn't saying we shouldn't bury our dead. Jesus isn't saying we shouldn't say goodbye to our families. What Jesus is saying is, first, follow me. Then everything else falls into place. First, follow me. First, put God in our lives. First, do as God asks us. So many times in the world we say, well, let's solve all of the intricate, difficult problems first, and then we can love our neighbors ourselves. Don't work like that. It has to begin here, and has to begin here. We have to change our own hearts. We have to change our own spirits with the help of God, and that's where it begins. If we cannot live at peace with literally our neighbors who live next door to us, if we cannot live at peace with the people who live in our own homes, if we cannot live at peace with the people that work with us, how are we going to live at peace with nations and with tribes and with clans and with the world? The solution is simple. The living it is hard. Profess not only that you love God and you love your neighbor as yourself, but live your life loving God with everything that you have and your neighbor as yourself. And in that way, and if all of us did it, if all of the Christians, all of the Jews, all of the Muslims, all of the Hindus, all of the Buddhists, all of the Zoroastrians, all of the Native Americans, all of the Baha'is, all of the Jainists, all of the Confucians, all of the others who believe that same thing, if we all did it, if 2/3 of the world's population all lived that one thing we believe, I cannot even begin to imagine what the world would be like. But I can tell you this, it would be very different than it is today.